Great. Hello. Um, Today I'm going to discuss the subject um, called forgiveness. Right? Forgiveness is a big subject because you know it's such a big subject because so many times you're in a position where you have to forgive somebody, or I guess vice versa, somebody got to forgive you for something you might have done or said that offended somebody, or sometimes it's willful, sometimes not willful. Um, as we're only human, this kind of thing is expected because we're mortal and we're human. And it's um, from time to time, it's you hear people talking about hard to forgive somebody, and that's very true. It's very hard to forgive somebody if you think they did something deliberate with intent to harm, um, something like that. It's very hard for you to forgive somebody for that they knowingly did something to harm somebody or to hurt somebody, right? Without a conscience or without care. And but the problem is finding out, how do you know if it was deliberate or it was just a slip of the tongue, just something you said. Uh, Sometimes it's hard to know, right, if something is deliberate, done with bad intent, or it was just somebody stumbled and um, somebody stumbled into saying um, hurtful things about maybe a family member, maybe a relative, right? Maybe somebody who used to be a friend, right? Maybe an employer, maybe, we have a long list of people, right? And then we find ourselves wishing the world would fall on them for that. If you're in a situation like that where you think somebody harmed you, then you're in, you wish the world would, their world would turn upside down overnight. I know the feeling. And it's very contagious. It could grow into resentment and hate if you don't try to keep it under control, right? Because for your own health, mentally and physically, you can't let something like hate dominate your life, whereas you'll have no life to live if you allow hate dominate your life. So it brings us to the question then: what should we do about it? Should we keep harboring this resentment towards whoever it was that we think harmed us, or if he's the right person, and we would wrestle with it and spend a lot of time thinking about it, like what would we do for revenge or something, you know? Because sometimes it comes across, if you don't seek revenge when you're harmed, that you're weak, right? You're weak or you're cowardly. So sometimes that kind of thinking motivates us into doing something. And I know how it goes, right? Very hard to forgive, right? Um, but I find myself wrestling with stuff like that over the years, right? I like anybody else, and I think maybe all of us in this world, at some point in time, we were harmed by somebody, either deliberately or not deliberately, or lied about, or somebody scanning your name, right? And from time to time, we would come across stuff like this, and we have to deal with it. right? So I would think this is a big problem across the land, across the world, um, and we all got to deal with it. Um, the problem is, how do we deal with it, right? Well, I remember when I was younger, I always wanted revenge, right? Somebody crossed my path, and I think that I'm right and justified, and the other person is wrong. Then I wish the world fall on top of them, the whole world turn upside down. But as I age, um, I realize more and more is that what I would gain, right? What you would gain in the long run, right? Like sometimes you gotta look at something and you gotta weigh it and think it over and measure it, and you realize that you gotta forgive sometimes. You can't keep something eating away inside of you like rotting inside of you, this hate for revenge. So I think that forgive, and if you forgive, it would heal you, right, emotionally, and make you like that. You could get on with your life. You're not harboring that resentment and hate. So as I get older, I realize that, I'm thinking more and more along those lines, and I'm pretty sure I'm on the right track because it gives you peace of mind, right? Because people are human, they would screw up, they would make mistakes, right? You cannot control how somebody thinks, right? You cannot control, you cannot control their philosophy or their way of thinking, the idea of what is right from wrong, whatever, right? So I think when you look at it as a whole, you're justified and looking at forgiveness as a solution to the problem, so you could get on with your life, right? And I think that's the best pathway you could go down. You can't go wrong with forgiveness, right? Because who are us? Most of us, we might have unknowingly said things about people or scandal somebody's name, you know, especially when in young days, and we regret it or whatever, and we would like that person to forgive us, right? Same thing. What goes around comes around. If you want people to forgive you, you got to forgive too. It's a two-way street. Definitely not a one-way street. And to heal yourself, that's the only thing left for you to do, to forgive, right? To get on with your life, right? This is one of the subjects I wrestle with it. I've been thinking about it a lot, this forgiveness thing, and that's the conclusion I come to, that you gotta forgive. Forgiving is only it's going to right your world, right? It's going to clear up a lot of things, It's going to help you to make the next step in life, to go on with your life, to move forward. That's what forgiveness is all about. You're doing it for your own health, your own, your own stability in life, your own, healthiness. And to forgive is noble, and is what God taught us to do. Is something in the Bible, and it makes a lot of sense, right, when you look at it. So I make this video about that, talking about it, and giving my thoughts about this all important subject. And I hope that it contributes to the betterment of others out there who wrestle with the same problem as me. And with further ado, out.